Welcome to Rockstars, the podcast where high performance meets real life.
I'm Brent Lang, joined by my wife, Jennifer Jones, and this is where we talk about rocks, rings, and everything in between.
It's about chasing dreams and asking, why not me?
And figuring out how to keep going when things get hard or hilarious.
Sometimes it's just us talking curling, business, family, and parenting.
Sometimes it's bigger conversations about success, pressure, and believing that anything is possible.
We keep it honest, uplifting, and fun.
We might even make you laugh.
Because this is about the wins, the losses, and real life in between. Rocks, rings, real life.
This is Rockstars.
Welcome back to Rockstars, Rocks, Rings, and Real Life, the podcast where a couple of dream chasers open up about chasing big dreams, living in the moment, navigating life's highs and lows, and figuring out what comes next together. I'm Olympic champion Jennifer Jones, and as always, I'm joined by my husband and Olympian Brent Lang. Brent, what are we talking about on today's episode?
Well, Jen, I'm glad you asked. Today we're going to talk about the real cost of chasing Olympic dreams. So maybe financial costs, maybe emotional costs, maybe lifestyle, relationships. We're going to touch it all because I think a lot of people are curious what it's actually like. So that's what we're going to do.
Okay, but before we jump in, I think a quick shout out to our listeners is in order. If you're loving the show, hit that subscribe button and leave us a review. And as always, follow us on our social at Rockstars Curl on Insta and X, and at BLang99 on X, and at Jane Jones Curl on Insta. It truly does mean the world to us.
We're still not great at monitoring those socials. Our personal ones, we're not bad. I mean, for us, but so if we're not reaching out to you on those and you're sending some message, I've just realized I haven't checked it in a little bit, but I will.
Keep going. We will get better. It's a work in progress.
We're not perfect, but we're getting better. So let's start with the financial cost. So talk to me a little bit, Jen, about, we're going to talk about curling, obviously, but I think a lot of sports are going to be very similar. I mean, depending on how much you travel and all those types of things, but a lot of Olympic sports require a lot of travel, World Cup events. And our World Cup events are the World Curling Tour. So tell me a little bit about the cost of travel and competition, Jen.
Well, it's expensive.
True. I did say a little bit.
Yeah, no, it's very expensive. It's, and costs, as are just going up and up and up. And it's just all out of pocket costs. I know even with our kids entering into competitive sports and just how much of an investment it is I know some of the hockey parents, when they're putting in summer programs, all these extra skates and trying to find a way to have their kid live out their dream, but also be fiscally responsible. I almost think it's impossible. It just feels like it's just a never ending money pit. And I know for curling, you have the cost of your flights, your hotels, all the food you're eating on the road, getting to and from the airport, your coach coming, all the camps you do, physio, trying to work out and train. It definitely is a very high item on the budget line.
Yeah, and I was thinking about this as we were putting this together, and we used to, and I still say to people, a season's about 100, 125, and I've even boosted it to 150. But then I started doing some math, and those are based on like $100, $110 hotel rooms. Yeah. Flights used to be returned $500 or $600. Entry fees are the one thing that haven't changed much, and I don't know why.
It's prize money.
No, those are related because a lot of times we're playing for our own money until you get into kind of the slams where there's some sponsorship. But I did a little bit of quick math, and I think we're safe to double what I've always said. Like, I think a real tour season for a team, and this is a Canadian team, not really going overseas. You go overseas, things change. Or if you're coming from overseas to Canada, I don't even want to know what their budgets are. But I think it's a couple $100,000 all said and done. Probably 250 is what you need if you really want to do what you need to do to be at the top level. Now, you can do different things to save some money and save some costs to get there. But once you get there, if you want to stay there, that's kind of what it takes. That's what it costs on the financial side. So
when we were younger, though, like we do 4 to a room.
Oh, yeah. No, and that's one of my next points. Not just 4 to a room, 4 to a shitty room, like any room. We had a room one time in Brockville. I don't know if I've told this story on the pod before, but we checked in. It was a motel. Let's call it what it was. But I think it was about $69 a night. Coincidentally, there were nudie magazines under the mattress. And we were pretty young and found that we had a king bed and a pull-out. Like, this is what you do. I remember another story. John and Craig and juniors brought canned food. I don't know if I'm going to get them jail time, but I think they were siphoning gas from other cars. trying to save some bucks.
No, they were not.
I'm just kidding. I'm not kidding about the canned food though. But yeah, all those things, the cheap hotels, you try and find, even maybe sometimes book connecting flights until you have some sponsorship, you have some funding, have some support. You got to find a way to do it. Team Jacobs used to drive from Sault Ste. Marie to anywhere USA, anywhere Ontario, drive the whatever it would be, like 10 hours probably to Brockville, 4 of them in a car, just to get there for 4 or 5 days and stay 4 to a room, just because they had a dream and they wanted to be where some of the top teams were. And I think it worked.
No, it definitely did. We used to bring food too. I remember going to a couple of events and you'd kind of have a budget every day of how much you could spend on food. We would bring Lipton cup of soup, you boil water, and instant meal. And then all of a sudden, I remember, and I probably have shared this story before, but all of a sudden you're in Ontario and it's a tradition to buy the other team a drink if you win.
Yeah,
and that was not built into our budget.
Well, and you were, I think the story goes, the Ottawa Hunt, where the drinks at that time were probably still $10. They're probably $20 now. But one cost that people don't talk about that I wanted to ask you about specifically, especially because your background is, you're a lawyer by trade. What about career opportunities?
Yeah, and I think, I always say I believe I curled in the best of times where you could do both. I was able to finish law school and still curl during law school, and find a way to go and get a job and be employed with a great group of people. I'm still going to be forever grateful for them to give me the opportunity, to give me the flexibility to continue to pursue my dreams and at the same time have a career. But I'm not sure that that's really available anymore. It's the events are longer. You're gone a lot longer than you are. Everybody's training full time, and if you're not putting in the hours, it's very hard to compete at that level. So you almost have to push that career back a few years before you get started. And I always felt very grateful that I was able to pursue my career at the same time that I was pursuing my curling dreams.
And then specifically, and you love talking about specifics, especially when it's about money, right?
Not really, no.
Would you be making more or less money right now if you didn't curl and you just stuck to law?
Oh, no, I would definitely be in a better financial position if I was just a lawyer, for sure. And curling, as much as people think there really isn't a lot of money in curling. Like you really can't sustain yourself long term. You could try to have a family. It's just, there's not enough economics really behind it to support that. So you have to have another job to make it so you can buy groceries, which is good. But because I wasn't doing what I was doing full time and I tried to find flexibility, you do sacrifice some career goals. I had some goals from a career perspective when I first started out. I wanted to be partner. I wanted to be doing all of these things. And I think I really do believe I would have achieved those goals. And I decided that I wanted to also pursue my curling goals. So you kind of had to pivot a little bit and find different ways to do both. But no, we would be much better off financially. Like,
I'm glad you said we.
Not even close.
I don't think it would change much for me, but
if I did not curl.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, there's a reason that, Brad Gushue sold his soul to the United States. If he could retire, he would retire. But no, not many people would have been more financially and, successful in curling than Brad. But he's taken a job. He's 45 years old and curled for the last 25 years and done really, really well. But he's taken a job. That's what it is. It's part of the motivation is money. He doesn't have enough to retire, not even close, I would imagine. And he's had successful businesses outside of that. I'd say outside of curling, he's also been one of the more successful full-time curlers.
Yeah, no, for sure. And it's just not, as much as they announce like money on TV, it doesn't really take into account all the expenses. So it's like I don't want to compare it to gambling because it's not gambling, but when somebody plays,
got to buy in.
When somebody gambles, they say, "Oh, I won $5,000," but it's like, but it cost me $7,000 to win that five.
It cost me $15,000 to go to Vegas for 4 days, and I won $5. I'm up $5.
Yeah, so the net is not really there. But I mean, I wouldn't really change it. I love the experiences that we have, and looking back on my life, all the incredible experiences, I think it changed me as a person. I'm so grateful for every opportunity, but as I don't feel like we're close to retirement, but as we get older, and
it's not retirement. You don't feel close enough to financial freedom, though.
Yeah,
you don't feel old, but
no. I was going to say, but then all of a sudden you're just like looking at it, saying we just can't financially do that. So
no.
I feel like we're going to work for a while.
Yeah. No, we're not done working yet. Yeah. So if anybody has any opportunities for us, send those our way too.
Yeah.
Always looking for business opportunities. But so follow up question to that, as we know it's gotten way more expensive, and like you said, that the events are twice as long. Like these teams are going to events for 8 nights. We used to go to slams sometimes we'd fly in on Thursday.
Well, that was before the women were included.
Right.
So I can't argue that.
What if no, I won't say that.
No.
I'm kidding. It's
No.
way better with the women involved. It's a way better event, but it's,
So
8 days in a hotel. That's double the days, and then you double the rate. I think 2 times 2 is 4. So it's quadruple the hotel bill. The old hotel bill that was $1,000 to $1,500 is now probably, $6,000, $5,000 a lot of weeks.
Well, it depends if you bring your coach and if you have other people involved, like you have to pay for all of that. But so do you think elite curling has quietly become too expensive or inaccessible for many people?
Yes and no. Nobody starts at the top, as much as people love to talk about, well, if I had the sponsorship that Team Jones had, I would be where Team Jones is. And it's like, that's not how it works. If I had the salary of the CEO of Royal Bank, I would be that rich. And it's like, but there are steps to get there. You didn't have sponsorship when you came straight out of juniors. Correct me when I say something wrong. You will. I know. I don't have to ask you. You had to go out and you had to find ways to put money in a bank account. That's what it used to be at the start of the year. It'd be, okay, guys, and we would have, pony up $5,000, which at the time I didn't have $5,000 to put into a bank account. And then you go and hopefully you win some money and it goes back in. And it's like, okay, you either have to pony up again if you're not doing well, or maybe we can pay for the next event. And then you find some success, and you don't find it, you earn some success. And then you start to say to sponsors, hey, we were on TV at the slams. And that's why the slams have been so important. And TV is so important with sponsors and all those things. And, you start to do really well with a couple of events where you host some stuff for your sponsors and make a name and give them some value back. Yeah, and then you start to get some sponsorship.
Without the TV time, curling would not be.
It was donations. And that was all we looked for in the beginning. We had sponsors in juniors. You get $500 here, $1,000 there. And it was nice people who wanted to support us, who, yes, they had businesses, they put their names on our jackets, but it wasn't, there was no return on investment for that. Now, if you sponsor.
You still, though, your sponsors are not even covering your season. So it's not like.
Not for most people, for sure.
No. Yeah. And so it is, you're doing it for the love of the game, really, rather than, and to chase dreams, rather than. You're not really going to make money.
No, but I don't think it's too expensive, because I think curling's still one of the cheapest sports available. Like, you can join a curling club for $400, $500, $600, and you can play literally every day if you want.
No, and I believe that. I you look at especially kids sports, because our kids are playing all kinds of sports, and the cost of hockey or dance or gymnastics compared to curling, it's not even in the same sentence, really. Like, it's completely, but it's more so if you want to get to that elite level. You see so many of these great junior curlers not really taking that next step to men's and women's. And I wonder sometimes if cost is one of the reasons.
Sure it is. I think the biggest reason is they're not willing to do what it takes. And one of the things that it
and that's okay.
takes, it is as long as you're not going to complain about it for the rest of your life and say what could have been and I could have been and all that other BS excuse stuff. But one of the things that it takes is you have to give up some financial opportunities or some social opportunities or some other opportunities, because you have to make it, if you want to be the best, you have to make it your number one. And that's selfish, and we'll talk about that, but that's what it takes, because other people are willing to do that. So if somebody's willing to work as hard as Jennifer Jones and Brad Gushu, and you want to be where they are, I don't know any other way other than doing what they did and working as hard as they did and making some choices that may require you to miss some stuff. Whatever that happens to be. A lot of stuff.
Yeah, but I never felt, and we can talk a little bit about that, like the personal costs associated with curling in terms of relationships or social life, parenting, all of those things. I never felt like it was a cost. Like, I never felt like it was a sacrifice. Looking back, there definitely are some sacrifices. You don't, like we've said, like I don't think I've had a Thanksgiving with my family. I mean, my family came to watch me curl in Calgary. So, but with my entire family or at home, I didn't have one for 25 years. It was at the curling club, and you miss out on birthday parties. Our family never celebrates a birthday on the actual day, because basically curling always got in the way. So we just kind of made this thing, well, we'll just find a day and we'll celebrate it on that day. But the people around me supported curling, but it's even friendships and social, you just don't have that flexibility to to see your friends all the time. And I believe that that's what I gave up the most was time, like social time, times with friends, family time. Obviously you may put off marriage. And I know for women, you would try to plan your pregnancies so that it would work well into the curling schedule, which is becoming more and more difficult because the curling schedule is so long. But and that was really stressful because you're trying, it's not easy sometimes to get pregnant, and then you're trying to make sure you're doing it during certain months, trying to have a baby between like in the summer months, and that's not easy either.
Yeah, and the summers now, like you said, it's 2.5 months long. It used to be 6. So no, it's interesting. And one of the other a question that actually came in was about marriage during Olympic cycles. For us, it's not. We understand because we were both going through the same thing. So we knew what it took. It took Grandma Carol's what it took for us, but we knew what it took. We knew the commitment and all those things. And yeah, we knew you're not gonna, and even in university, you're not going to be probably a water buffalo. You're not going to those. You're not going to be part of a frat. You're not probably going to play university sports. You're probably not going to be in a lot of clubs. I had a teacher in business try and kick me out of her class because I missed too many classes. And thankfully the dean, when I met with the dean, did a little research and sat down and said, no, I think, we had just won the World Junior Championship, and the dean stepped in and said, no, I think we want to encourage these types of people to come to Laurier. And I don't know what's changed since then, but yeah, there's going to be changes. But what about in a marriage or a relationship where one person's chasing it and not leaving, but the other person is kind of left with the bill at home, whether there's kids or whether it's just keeping the lights on or whatever it is, because that's the case in there's a lot of couples that curl, but most of them don't. And I would think that would be difficult.
Yeah, I think it is difficult. You talk to the spouses of players and just the challenges that it has when you're at home taking care of the house, the kids, making sure everything's working the way it should, and that your partner's chasing their dreams, but you phone them and they might be having an afternoon nap.
Yeah, that'd be the toughest one. And
might not want to mention that if your spouse calls home just as they're like, at wit's end trying to figure out everything. But yeah, I think it does take a lot of support, and it's something I know going in, but I mean, you might not really realize how much it is until you're in it. But for the most part, it's just you're living the dream with them. And I know for us, I get as excited when you win as when we do, even probably more so. And so I think I would have been fine if it was me staying at home because you feel so emotionally invested. But it is, it's a lot. Like it's hard to be on your own, especially with kids, trying to figure out logistics and getting them to where they need to be. And if they're sick, then it's, on the person that's at home to figure that all out. So it has its moments for sure. You still need a Grandma Carol.
I would think so. Yeah. And yeah, I believe that you would have been okay with it. And I also know that I would not have been okay with it. It would have been too much for me. Yeah. If you were away those 120 days and I'm at home and we still have the same kind of life and family and kids and stuff, no, I would have struggled. It would have been full on struggleville.
You struggle in a week.
Right. Like I've been home alone without you, obviously, lots of times when you're curling, and parts of it are fun and parts of it are great and parts of it aren't.
Yeah.
Parts of it aren't to my strengths, and my strength is being selfish. So that's not helping that. That's for sure.
No, you just don't like being super busy. And so when you're on your own and you're responsible for everything, it just feels like chaos. It just feels like you're constantly busy.
Yeah, that's true. And I think that's part of what I loved about curling was it was never chaotic. It was, you were expected to be selfish and focused on one thing. And that one thing was, when is the next game? Do I have to sleep? Do I have to eat? And that's pretty much it.
Yeah. And yeah, it was very simple. And whereas when we're at home, it's like, hey, Isabella's got to go here. We got to go here.
Yeah.
School is going on. Got to pack lunches. Lunches is my nemesis, but that's another podcast topic.
Yeah. But we're talking about families, and is it realistic to think that a family can have a normal life, whatever normal is in quotations, with a high performance athlete, or especially during, say, an Olympic cycle?
I don't think it will ever be normal. I don't think that's realistic for what society views as normal. And I think sometimes I struggled with that because I felt that I know that people were very judgmental towards you and me for being away all the time and the kids. But I look back and it might not be normal in terms of what other people would see as normal. But for us, I think it gave a lot of advantages to our kids, and they had a lot of experiences. I believe it turned it helped shape them into the people that they are. They're very independent. They dream big. They're hard workers. They're very good with their time because we've had to be very good with our time management, knowing when you have to get things done. So there was a lot of advantages, but no, I don't believe it's normal. And people would say to me, "You're away again." It's like, yeah, I am. But when we're away, I still felt connected to our family. Like it was very important to me to call home all the time and to really feel like I was involved. And I don't think that was as important to you, but for me, it was just really important to feel involved. So even when we were away, I still felt it was normal, and it was our normal. But no, it's not the traditional normal 9 to 5 kind of life.
No.
For sure.
And then we've talked about the myth of balance, the work-life balance, and especially at elite levels of sport. And again, if that's what you're looking for, you're not going to get to the top of any sport.
I think for me, I had a really kind of moment really early on when Isabella was young. And I'm not even sure where I was, but Isabella wasn't with me. I mean, she came to everything. So I wasn't, I was away, and my mind was full of guilt. I just felt guilty for not being where she was. So it just felt like a waste. Like, why did I even bother coming to train? I'm not really invested in this. And I promised myself, I made this commitment to myself that I had changed my mindset, that I didn't want to just go through the motions of life. I wanted to be present and be in the moment and be where my feet were, as we often.
Oh, I was waiting for that.
As we often say. So when I was with Isabella, she was going to get 100% of my attention. Obviously, when I was with you, and when I was working, when I was curling, I was going to be really focused on that. And that mindset, that change of mindset, really made a big difference for me. It changed my total outlook. I felt like I was in the moment. I was present. I can remember the small details. I wasn't just going through the motions of what I was doing. I was really invested in it. And there was no guilt. If we wanted to have the life that we had, I was going to have to sometimes travel and be away. And that was a part of it. But then when I was home, I could really be present and be extra focused on what I was doing at home. And so there was kind of pros and cons. And once I came to terms with that, it really did change my life in almost everything I do, and just make sure that all those little small moments in life we appreciate. And they always say stop to smell the roses, but for us, it's just enjoy every little moment. And, we love family movie night. We get excited for that. We get excited for all the small things. And I think it's because we take a moment to really be grateful and really be present.
And it is nice when you're home, you're home. And I think one of the things that a lot of people chasing big goals, especially in athletics, you do have some downtime and you do have some control of your schedule. That's not to say you're not doing something every day, but sometimes you have a little bit of control and you can take some time to do kind of what you want to do. Sometimes you can't, but sometimes you can.
Except when the drug testers come. Now that is another
Then you're
story.
out, you're on your own. You even if you just had a baby 10 days ago and that baby's crying, they're coming in.
They are coming in. I remember having to go and pick the kids up at something, and all of a sudden they show up at the door, and it's like, I need to go and get my kids. Like, so they almost have to come with.
Yep. That's exactly what they have to do.
So, or one year they came December 23rd, and I was wrapping all the Christmas presents. I was watching my Hallmark Christmas movie. I had a glass of wine sitting there, and I literally had just gone to the bathroom. Not that we need to know these things, but they just watched me wrap presents all night long.
There was only one time where I just ignored them. I didn't answer the door, and they were there I was sick as a dog in bed. I remember texting you. The lights were all off. They're knocking on the door. I know exactly who it is. People don't knock on my door at 9:30 at night. And I'm home alone in bed, and I just didn't get up. And they're knocking and knocking and knocking. No, I
couldn't do that. Could you imagine me doing that?
No, but I wasn't up for it. And it was just like, piss off. I've passed every test. I'm sick, and I don't want to deal with you right now. So if that gets me in trouble with WADA now, then I guess they're coming for me. But I did. I just ignored them the whole time, and they stayed for a long time, like 30 minutes.
It wasn't during your hour. It was just a random test.
It wasn't during my hour. No, every day you have to give them 1 hour, but we always gave them between 5 and 6 in the morning, or 5:30 and 6:30, whatever it was.
The earliest.
But they never came during that time. They always came during dinner, because this couple who were the drug testers in our area, I guess that was better for them.
I know, it was just so annoying because we had family time, or our kids knew who the drug testers were. They would come in, and sit and while we were feeding our
It's just
kids.
a strange.
It is
strange
really
thing.
strange. The only one I remember is I had meningitis. Do you remember?
I'll say yes.
You do. Okay. And so I was very sensitive to light. Like I had really bad migraines and I was home alone. You had gone. My mom was coming. Isabella was young still. And my mom was coming, but there was a few hour gap where I was on my own. And that's, of course, when they came.
Mm.
So I couldn't turn the lights on. I had this little baby. I was so sick.
See, should have ignored them.
So that's actually the one thing that the only thing, but when we were, it's just so nice to know that they're not going to come ever again.
No, they're not.
And not that you're scared of them. Like we never did anything wrong.
That's why you're on all the drugs now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Still can't.
HGH and all the good stuff now.
Yeah, no. I've never even taken a multivitamin, for goodness sake. Anyway, but yeah, it's just, there's just so many different things about what we've done as athletes that I think have really kind of shaped our life. But there are definitely pros and cons. I really do believe we're really good at appreciating and be grateful for every little moment we have.
Yeah, no, I agree. And back to kind of the original question, have you ever felt guilty for what you've done? And I can say that no, I've never felt guilty because everybody who knew me knew how important it was to me and knew that was, just call it what you want, call it selfish, call it whatever. But that was number one. And everything I was going to do in my life kind of worked in around that. And I had a great life still. I still got to do a lot of other stuff because we're curlers. We're not, 50K cross-country skiers. So our training's a little bit different, but it is still a ton of time and effort. And that's what it takes. And I was willing to do whatever I could and whatever it took to get there. And I still feel like I could have done a lot more.
Yeah, no, I don't think I'd change anything. And obviously curling worked out pretty well for us. And I love all the moments and the memories. I think sometimes what we were talking about earlier, financially, sometimes I sit there and think,
that's not a good game to play.
No, it's not even the game. It's just sometimes I look at the kids and part of me feels like I let them down. but that's me, because it would just be a little bit in a different place if we didn't use so much of our years curling.
Do you think you'd feel any different if you weren't as successful? Like if you didn't win the Olympic gold or make the Olympics twice, win the world championships, all the Grand Slams, do you think you would look back on it differently? Like,
I don't know. I don't like to look at things that way.
In terms of regret, I mean, or in terms of,
Maybe,
do you think you would have quit earlier?
Yeah, for sure. I think I would have, just because of the kids and like the kids are the most important. Well, and you are the most important thing
There's a lot of and yous in this
in the world. So I think maybe I would have, but I don't think that they lost anything by us curling or competing. But I just think, again, you could go off and maybe do other things that may help in the long run. But no, I don't think I would regret it. It felt like we were just chasing dreams for our whole life. And if you have a life of dream chasing and kind of having some success, I think that's a pretty good life to have.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. How hard is it? We're talking about the cost of it. Are there any emotional costs for putting in so much time and effort in 4 years, 8 years, 12 years, 16 years, whatever it is, and not getting to, I mean, obviously if we're talking in quadrennials, we're talking about the Olympics. Is there an emotional cost on that? Like you missed a couple of times before it happened, but you didn't quit, obviously. You had some success, obviously a lot of success elsewhere, but is there any emotional cost to that? Like how long does it take you to get over something like that?
Well, obviously it takes a little bit, but no, I don't even think about that. When you're asking the question, I was like, oh, that doesn't
What kind of stupid question
No,
is
that
this?
doesn't even come into my mind. Like
Are you saying there's more to it than just
winning
the actual winning and losing?
Yeah. That didn't, obviously it's heartbreaking when it happens and, it takes a little bit to get over, but it's all the fun stuff along the way and the trying and
Wayne Maddaw just turned this podcast off. He's listening.
Yeah.
There's nothing else. There's winning and that's it.
Yeah. And I know it's a big part of it, but for me, it never really was. Like it just wasn't. And you got over losses better than I did, I think.
Well, I lost a lot more than you. I had to. I didn't want to jump off a bridge, so I had to come up with another plan.
So, but even though it hurts, like it was still okay. Like I actually had a pretty good perspective on that. So no, I don't think the emotional turmoil or any of that, the ups and downs, no, I don't regret that. Would you recommend this lifestyle to young people, like the next generation, to our kids?
1,000,000%.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, what's better in life than having a North Star goal and working your ass off towards it and the things you learn in the failures, the excitement of being part of something, and just having something. It can be anything.
Yeah.
But that's the lifestyle I recommend. Find something that's super hard and go chase it for basically all your life.
Yeah.
And even if you don't land there, even if it's not everything you wanted, even if you finish 4th at the Olympics, you probably still learn something along the way, and you're going to meet some great people and some like-minded people. And that's what it's about for me, was being a part of a group and a team that was on the same path, doing anything they could for each other because they wanted the same things. And that was pretty cool for me.
Yeah, no, and I agree. I think it is, as you see these kids, part of me always was sport for sure. And again, probably another podcast, as you see these kids specialize at such a young age, and all the time and the money that's invested by the parents. And sometimes you just can't afford to do all of these things. I don't know if that's necessarily the way to go, but if they're so passionate where they're dragging you to the rink every day and they're doing all of these things, then why not support that if you can?
Yeah, no, that's how I've always felt. Like, and my parents were great. And we lived close to the curling club, but my dad didn't ever ask me. I'm sure he did ask me, do you want to go to the curling club? But every time I asked, it was like, yeah, sure.
Right.
Because he knew I loved it. And I think if you don't love it, you're going to run out of, I think that's why people really quit. And I'm not here to tell you, I love the game more than you. I'm more of a traditionalist. I'm more whatever. But if you really loved the game and the chase and everything about it, you wouldn't give up. So you wouldn't give up at 25 or, all these young people that are really good. You wouldn't quit if you actually truly loved the chase. And if you don't love that, then you're going to quit.
Yeah. I probably would have quit if we didn't have Grandma Carol though. And I loved it more than anything.
No, you would never have quit. You would have just brought the babies on the ice.
Did bring the babies
on the ice.
Yeah. On my back.
Well, yeah, first in the bucket, and then in the baby Bjorn, and then after that they're fine. Once they're 3, like they're good to go.
Yeah.
Anyway, so why did we do it? I kind of just touched on it, but why did we chase such big goals, for so long? What's the reward? Like what's in it for me? That's what everybody wants to know. Why would I do this? Brent, you tell me I should do this. Why would I want to, chase something so difficult to do?
I think it was just really satisfying trying to achieve something, like always trying to improve, trying to evolve. Like it was just so satisfying. It just felt like you were living life to the fullest every single day for me. And
was it the trying to improve that was satisfying, or was it the actual noticing that, hey, I'm trying everything I can and I'm actually getting better?
I think it was both. Like, I think it was setting the plan and having goals and working towards those goals, and they were tangible. You could tell, and being a part of a team where you felt like you belonged in this family, and you could really try to see what you could achieve together. And it was so much bigger than just a win. I'm really proud. I think our team helped change women's curling, try to help it be more aggressive. Like, it wasn't just about wins and losses for us. Like, I couldn't imagine just throwing hits up and down the sheet for 10 ends just because I thought we were better hitters and that's how we were going to win a game. Like, that wouldn't even come or cross my mind. To me, it was about entertaining the fans, trying to grow the game. Like, that was involved in it too. So there were so many external factors that gave me a sense of satisfaction and joy that it was never just about results. So it
until the gold medal game in the 7th end where you had to hit that end. You guys were leaking oil.
But that was the 5th end.
5th end?
Yeah.
I thought it was
right
the 7th.
before the 5th end break.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll look back on it.
No, I didn't say I didn't hit. I'm just saying, those games, blanks, and oh my goodness. But yeah, I think for me, why I kept doing it, well, we were good at it too, which kind of helped. And you felt like the goals were attainable, but it was just more about seeing what we could do. And I really do believe it kept me young. I don't feel my age. Sometimes when I read it on paper, I'm like, really? Is that how old I am? Like, I just don't feel it. And I think it's because we were constantly pursuing, chasing, living this unbelievable life. Like, I think it kept us young. Where would go with that? I think it was healthy.
I am still young. Nothing needs to keep me young. So that's fair.
Yeah.
And you already answered this, but kind of the wrap up before the rapid fires is, would you do it all again knowing the sacrifices? And I didn't like even typing that word as the question, but.
No, I don't like the word sacrifice. Yeah, I definitely would. Like I said, I would do it again. I think we've lived a great life. It just means that we'll probably work till we're 80.
Well, I hope I make it to 80. Yeah. I don't think I'm built like Grandma Carol. She's going forever. But yeah. So that kind of wraps things up. But before we go, we do have a couple of rapid fire questions. This one I thought was interesting. So that's why I took the mic here, because I want you to answer it because it's kind of hard. What's harder, making the Olympics or staying there? So what's harder, making it to number 1 in the world, Jen, or staying there?
Well, for us, it was making it to the Olympics because it was one game. Like we tried for so long, and the Olympic trials, you have to play well at one event, and you can be ranked number one in the world, and it doesn't matter. I think a lot of people would be saying staying there. Like it's hard to kind of, because everybody's chasing you and they're constantly working harder. But for me, it was making the Olympics.
I think that's the cliche answer is you're supposed to say it's harder to stay there. But
no, it's hard to make it.
The truth is when you get there, you know how you got there. And then you just you do exactly what you did on the way up. It's like, where can we get better? On the way up, it's like, well, we got a whole bunch of things we can get better. And then when you get there, it's like, okay, where do we have gaps? What can we still get better at? And there's always things. So it's the little changes, and that's what keeps you there. But yeah, that's a question that a lot of people ask. And
okay, my turn.
Yeah, it's way harder to get there. Come on.
What do you as an athlete miss most about normal life?
Well, I don't think I ever lived a normal life, so I'm not exactly sure. Traveling around, I loved it. I don't, lots of people talk about, the travel. It's like, I got no problem hanging out on a plane for a while. I mean, as long as
the Asia flights were my favorite. Like,
you're flying up front because you fly so much, but maybe I don't even know. Like, what is a normal life to me? I don't miss. I just loved having something to chase, and a goal to get after. And I think that's why business suits us now and suits me now. But
as an athlete, I think though, I miss
birthdays. I hate Thanksgiving dinner, so that was cool to be curling. I'd rather order Domino's on a Saturday night in Brockville or wherever. No, we weren't in Brockville. Where was Thanksgiving?
You're alone.
We were Portage all the time. One. That's fine.
Yeah, but no, it wasn't birthdays. It was just I always don't like letting people down, and I feel this actually makes me emotional. I feel like sometimes while I was chasing my dreams, I let some of my friends down because I wasn't there all the time. And they always hung by me, and I'm so grateful for that. I have got these amazing friends that have stuck by me, even though I wasn't physically present a lot of the time. So I think
I've seen that wear on you and weigh on you.
Yeah, so I think it does bother me. That's one thing because they're just incredible people, and I just wish I could have been there more for them, just in everyday life, like going for coffee or if they needed me for something, and I just couldn't. I was just never could be that person. Because I was away all the time.
See, I didn't learn this. I think I was built this way. But Rich Hart told me early on, he's like, you guys are my 3 best friends, and I only got room for 3.
Yeah.
But I get that.
That would be, and that actually makes me sad even talking about it, because that's not my Achilles heel, but like something I stress about is I never want to let anybody down, ever.
Even me.
Even you. Mostly you and the girls.
So this is another one that came in for rapid fire. How many elite athletes and curlers are burning out? And do those that burn out have anything in common? Is burnout a real thing?
No, like people say they're tired. They don't want to curl as much. I think the schedule is too much. They want more time off. And we used to play every weekend. We'd play 3 weekends a month because you were chasing points and we were trying to support events. And I know maybe like according to the physiologists and all of that, but if you're doing what you love to do, it never felt like work to me. So I guess maybe I know burnout's a thing, like it is a thing, but it's just a question of, maybe it's time to move on to something different then, because it's so intense when you're trying to achieve certain things. Yeah.
I mean, I went to high school with a whole bunch of burnouts, but that was a different kind of burnout. I agree. If you're loving what you're doing, it's not going to feel like work. It's not going to feel like, oh, I'm tired, I don't want to go. And I can't think of a time where we were going to even a smaller event after having some success where I was like, I just don't want to go. Like I still got excited for every curling event.
Yeah, and I mean, I know it can feel like sometimes you just need some time off, and I totally support that and get that. But it's also just this, if this is something that you want to do, you want to be the best in the entire world at something, it is a lot of work, and it's a lot of time, and it's a lot of choices that have to be made, and you're going to miss out on certain things, and it's going to feel busy. And so sometimes you have to raise your hand and say, look, I just need a minute. But I think if it happens all the time, then maybe it's just something that you're just done. Like you're just done with what you're doing.
Lots of time to nap on the road. If you're burning out, you're doing that wrong.
Yeah, that's true. That's all I did on the road was nap.
Right?
But I think that wraps it up. So thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Keep rocking the chaos. Maybe chase a few adventures. Love the ride and never stop dreaming. We will see you next time on Rockstars.